All right, awesome. So it looks like students are trickling in, which is really exciting to see. Welcome. So I'm going to give it just the 2 more minutes before we get started, but welcome. We're excited to have you all joining us tonight. So people are still trickling in. We have a minute to go, so I do want to wait and start exactly at 4 p.m. But, again, thank you. Welcome. All right, so welcome. We are officially at the Virtual College Exploration for all Pennsylvania students, sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. So thank you for joining us. Just very quick housekeeping before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and your microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is really just one of the many sessions happening, so please be sure to check out the full schedule at paca.org. The session is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, paca.org. And with that, I would like to go ahead and turn it over to our presenters.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Adam Kaufman. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment at the University of Pittsburgh. It's wonderful to be with you this afternoon. Joining me is Kyle. Kyle's one of my colleagues. You want to say hello there?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Weiss. How are you?
Kyle's joining us. We're actually, even though we both work at the University of Pittsburgh, we're both bookending different ends of the state today. So Kyle is outside of Philadelphia as we speak. I am just a couple minutes north of Pittsburgh. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen here really quickly, and we are going to get started on an overview of the University of Pittsburgh. We're going to talk about our location, certainly in the city of Pittsburgh, our freshman entry schools, some of the reasons why students choose the University of Pittsburgh, and then we'll also go through the application process. So we have 45 minutes here with each other this afternoon, and I'm going to try and do our very best to make sure that we have some time for questions at the end. If you do have questions, you can send those in the Q&A feature to Kyle. Kyle will do his best to answer those. If we do not get to your questions, either verbally for me at the end or Kyle responding back to you, we will get a transcript of these questions at the end. So we will be sure to get back to you and answer your questions. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Kyle, if you could just give me a thumbs up there that we're all good to go. All right, perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Adam Kaufman. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment at the University of Pittsburgh. Welcome to our session this afternoon. I myself am a 2011 graduate of our College of Business Administration. I am currently studying my master's in higher education management at the University of Pittsburgh. And I'm originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I'm a central Pennsylvania native, but I call Pittsburgh home. And Kyle, you want to just give a little intro for yourself?
Yeah, again, my name is Kyle. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in 2019, where I studied ecology and evolution and very involved in many different activities at Pitt. I am now an admissions counselor. I love it at Pitt, but right now I'm situated in Philadelphia working in Metro.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. So we will go ahead and get started here. So on your screen, you see really the centerpiece of our campus, and that being the Cathedral of Learning. The Cathedral of Learning is the second tallest educational building in the world. We're very proud of it. It's a great point of pride for our campus. In the middle of the screen, I like to draw some attention to some of our Distinguished alums, we'll start clockwise from the top left with Samir Lakhani, who's a recent graduate of the University of Pittsburgh. He created the Eco Soap Bank, which is a company that recycles leftover toiletries like shampoos and soaps from hotels where they would have otherwise been thrown away. And he purifies them and distributes those to those less fortunate. So he's doing something really good for the world. Next to him is Wangari Maathai, who is a Nobel Peace Prize winning winner who won that for her work with the Greenbelt movement in her native Kenya, which reduced deforestation in that country. And then below them is not an alumnus of the University of Pittsburgh, but a Pitt researcher, Dr. Jonas Salk. He found the vaccine for polio on our campus back in the 1950s, and we have researchers currently working hard to find a vaccine for COVID. So we're hopeful for another victory there. In the more modern shot of the Cathedral of Learning, you can see our location with respect to the city of Pittsburgh. We're part of the city of Pittsburgh in a neighborhood called Oakland, but we're not smack dab amidst the skyscrapers downtown. We are 2.5 miles east in a neighborhood called Oakland, and we share that neighborhood with two other universities, Carnegie Mellon University and Carlow University. We also share it with numerous hospitals and a lot of cultural attractions, such as the Carnegie Museums of Art and Natural History, Phipps Conservatory, and the beautiful Shenley Park. So we're going to spend probably most of our time talking about the freshman entry schools and the application process, but I do also want to say hello to our regional campuses. Some of them are going to be having their own sessions, and I definitely encourage you to attend and stop by and see them. But we have three of them, and they're Bradford, Greensburg, and Johnstown, all situated in the western half of Pennsylvania. So some students, in the event that we are not able to offer admission to the Pittsburgh campus, we may be able to offer admission to a regional campus, and students can either graduate from those schools or they can work to relocate to the Pittsburgh campus after 2 years. So again, if you see those, I know that at least a few of them are going to be having sessions throughout this month, so definitely stop by and say hello there. So we're going to spend most of our time learning about our freshman entry schools, our first year entry schools. And we'll start with our largest, and that is going to be the Kenneth P. Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences. Now, before I go into this, I should mention that all students, with the exception of our nurses, will enter technically undeclared. So you will have an opportunity to indicate an area of academic interest on your freshman application, but you're not declaring your major unless you're applying to the School of Nursing. Only one major in that school, so if you enroll in that school, you are going to be a nurse. But we'll start with the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, and this is our largest concentration of majors. About 62 majors in the social sciences, the natural sciences, the arts and humanities. So this is our some of our most popular majors include biology, psychology, many of the health sciences, languages, all are going to be housed in this school. Now, students will either graduate from this school or they can progress onward to one of our upper level division schools, the School of Pharmacy, the College of General Studies, the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences, the School of Education, or the School of Social Work. There are no set prerequisite coursework requirements for the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, but it is recommended that students do have 3 consecutive units of a foreign language in high school. If you do not have that, it's not going to bar you from admission. We would just suggest that you take at least 1 year of a foreign language during your time at Pitt. We want our students to get that global focus. Our next school is going to be the College of Business Administration. It's one that's near and dear to my heart because I graduated from it. The CBA, or Pitt Business as it's sometimes referred to, has 7 majors for students to choose from, ranging from things like marketing to finance to accounting to human resource management. Our students in the College of Business Administration will declare their major at the end of their sophomore year. I should have mentioned too that the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences students will declare at that time as well. Business and Arts and Sciences declare at the end of their sophomore year. Our students in the College of Business Administration declare their major after they've taken the introductory course in all 7 of those business majors. So you're making sure that you're choosing the one that you like the best. One of my favorite things about studying in College of Business Administration was the emphasis that was placed on networking and professional development. Really from day one, you're going to see companies like Dick's Sporting Goods interacting with our students, coming in for lunch and learns, and we're able to really take advantage of a robust corporate environment in the city of Pittsburgh. Lots of great companies, which we'll talk about later. For our students applying to this school, we do require that they have math or at least trigonometry in high school. Pre-calc and calculus can also be very helpful for these students. Our students in the Swanson School of Engineering have 10 engineering majors to choose from, and they choose their major at the end of their freshman year. Their freshman year, they take a class that samples all 10 of those majors, things like bioengineering, mechanical engineering, and environmental engineering, which is the newest major in that school. You will choose that major, be in that major starting as a sophomore, and you will progress upward from that point. About 50% of our graduating engineers engage in what's called a co-op. A co-op is where students think of an academic year as broken into 3 semesters. So fall, spring, summer. 2 of those 3 semesters, the students will actually put their studies on pause and they will be working full-time. So they will earn a competitive salary. They'll still retain their status as a full-time student, but they will not be paying tuition at that time. I guess the disadvantage of that, if you even want to call it that, is that that will often lead to students either adding a semester or a full academic year onto their education, but a lot of times students do walk out of there with a job offer, so it is very advantageous for them. Same math requirement is going to go for our engineers, so math through at least trigonometry. Again, pre-calc and calculus are very helpful, and we also require that students take chemistry and physics in high school. Our School of Computing and Information is our newest freshman entry school, and this fall's freshmen were actually the first freshmen admitted directly to this school. 2 majors, computer science and information science, 2 majors that we've had for quite a long time, but we've repositioned them so students will really get started in those majors at an earlier date. They will choose their major at the end of their freshman year from one of those 2, information science or computer science. There are no set coursework requirements for the School of Computing and Information, but we do encourage students to apply early because it is a smaller and competitive school. We repositioned that school because of the tech boom that's going on in Pittsburgh right now. So there's lots of job opportunities with companies like Facebook, Argo AI, Uber with self-driving cars, and Google, all with large operations here in the city of Pittsburgh. Last but certainly not least is going to be our School of Nursing. Like I mentioned, this is the only school that you are declaring your major right off the bat. It is a direct entry program. Our nursing program is consistently ranked among the top 10 in the country. So our students will start, they'll be a nurse from day 1. They'll spend some time in a human simulation lab working with simulated patients, and then they will start their clinicals as a sophomore. So they'll have 3 years of those. And as I mentioned, with all the hospitals nearby, they are going to be very accessible for our students. Students will rotate through their clinicals, like I said, for 3 years. Coursework requirements for the School of Nursing, they will be required to take 4 years of math in high school, plus 3 years of laboratory science, which must include chemistry in high school. Now, I mentioned about the School of Computing and Information undergoing some exciting times, this being the first freshman class that we've admitted to that school. This is also the first freshman class that we've directly admitted to Pitt Honors. So previously, Pitt Honors was something that students were invited to participate in. Now you can apply and be offered membership. If you were offered that membership as a freshman, what that is going to get you is the opportunity to immediately register for honors classes. Honors classes are smaller, they're faster paced, and they go deeper into the subject material than the on-level courses would. The professors that teach these honors courses volunteer to do so because they want to engage with students who are deeply passionate about the subject that they've really made their life's work. If you do not receive admission as a freshman, it's not a once and done sort of thing. You can apply at the end of every academic year, and many of our students will at some point during their academic journey interact with Pitt Honors. The other advantage that that gets you is the opportunity to live in honors housing if you choose to do so. Okay, I also want to talk about some of our guaranteed admissions programs. And I know that being in high school, 16, 17, 18 years old, it's tough to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. But some of us do know that that next step is going to include graduate school. If that sounds like you can apply for one of our guaranteed admissions programs. We have 20 of them in total. I'll talk a little bit about some of them that have deadlines further on in the presentation. But these are programs where if you indicate that you want to be reviewed for it and you receive that guaranteed admission, you have a seat waiting for you in our graduate or professional program that you've chosen once you're finished with your undergraduate studies. To the two that I mentioned that do have specific deadlines because they're a little bit different of an application process. One is going to be our School of Medicine, which has a deadline of November 15th that you must apply, November 1st that you must apply for before in order to be reviewed for this guaranteed admissions program. This is our smallest and our most competitive guaranteed admissions program. We typically only give about 15 of these out per year. It is not your only way of matriculating onto the School of Medicine here at Pitt. Many of our students that do their undergraduate work here do so without that, and progress onward to medicine do so without that guarantee. So that is quite okay if you do not get that. The other one that has a deadline is January 15th for physician's assistant. There's a deadline for that one. Now, learning outside the classroom, we're going to transition more away from the academics to some of the outside the classroom aspects, because it's important to consider that when you're looking at a college or university, because the majority of your time, believe it or not, is going to be spent away from the classroom. Certainly a lot of that is going to be taken up studying and doing things like that that are going to advance your education, your career, but it is important to consider those sorts of things when you're looking at a college or university. As you can see here on the screen, this is a perfect example of some of the research that happens on our campus every single day. We are a top 10 research institution in terms of grants from the National Institute of Health. We are #1 in the country in terms of mental health grants from the NIH. So we're very proud of that, and it's a great environment for research, particularly for our health sciences majors. Students can start undergraduate research as early as their second semester freshman year. Typically, freshmen and sophomores do research with a faculty member, and then juniors and seniors, once they've declared their major, they actually have the opportunity to do independent research of their own. So I think that whether the next step is graduate school or a full-time job, the ability to talk about research that you've done at a top research institution is something that's great to add to your resume. Now, research is not just limited to the health sciences. A lot of times people think lab coats and beakers. Research is happening in every single subject that you can imagine at Pitt. When I was an undergraduate student, I took part in some economics research, and my marketing professors were doing market research as well. There's music research going on, mathematics, all of those things. Research is a big part of what we do at Pitt. We also have the opportunity to study abroad, and that's my single biggest regret about my undergraduate years is that I did not study abroad. We have 75 plus different countries for students to choose from. Of course, when it is safe to be traveling, but students do have that opportunity to study abroad, really for as short as a week during their spring break. The most common length of time is 2 weeks at the end of your spring semester, known as Maymester. You can go for a full academic year. That you can go for a full semester. You can go for a month. Lots of different lengths of time to choose from, and certainly different locations for you to choose from. My favorite program that we offer study abroad-wise is the MAP program, which stands for Multi-Region Academic Program. That is where students spend a semester abroad, and they split their time between 3 different continents. So the most recent example of that I have for you is students split their semester between India, Morocco, and Spain. So they touched Asia, Africa, and Europe all in the space of 1 semester. And if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd love to do something like that. So definitely encourage you to think about studying abroad. Now, I do also want to spend some time talking about the city of Pittsburgh, because we're very proud of where our campus is situated. So our campus is located, as I mentioned, in the neighborhood of Oakland. We moved to the neighborhood of Oakland in 1908. Originally, we were downtown, close to where the 3 rivers converge, and we were founded in 1787. So we've been around for a long time. But we like to say that the city is our campus because our students really do have the opportunity to take advantage of all the great things the city of Pittsburgh has to offer. I mentioned internships and some of the companies and corporations that are headquartered in Pittsburgh. Our students are going to have access to, just to name a few of those, some of those include Dick's Sporting Goods, American Eagle Outfitters, PNC Bank, Heinz Ketchup, of course UPMC, and then there are also companies like I mentioned, like Google, FedEx Ground, that have large operations here in the city of Pittsburgh. So that opens a lot of opportunities for internships and jobs after college. Pittsburgh has actually been rated as the #1 city in the country for recent college graduates, so we're very proud of that. We do have something I want to draw your attention to through the Career Center at the University of Pittsburgh, and that's going to be our Internship Guarantee Program. So for the students that complete the 6 steps of that program, which are honestly easy things like things that you should be doing as a college student anyways, like having your resume reviewed, attending a career fair, doing a mock interview, we will guarantee you placement in at least one internship before you graduate. Now that sounds great, and it is, but we've actually learned from the Career Center that most students do not even need to get to that 6th step in order to exercise that internship guarantee, because just doing those things and preparing themselves sets them up for internships and jobs across the city and really even across the world. So we're very proud to be able to offer that. A little bit more on the fun side of things, not that academics aren't fun, but a little bit more on the away from the classroom side of things, I should say. Our students do have a lot of things to do, both in the city and our campus. On our campus, we have about 600 officially recognized student organizations, things like music, athletics, intramural sports, club sports, political, professional, religious, you name it. If there's a passion that you have outside the classroom, chances are there's an outlet and a way for you to pursue it at Pitt. It could be something like our Pitt Band, which is our largest, oldest, and most recognizable undergraduate organization, or one that I like to talk about. We actually have an organization on campus called Feel Good, which makes and sells grilled cheese sandwiches to benefit world hunger. Who wouldn't like that? So you have lots of things to do on campus. Away from campus, our Pitt Arts department has a lot of great offerings for students to take advantage of. Things like our Cheap Seats program, which gives you discounted tickets to the Pittsburgh Opera, the Ballet Theater, and the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, or free admission to some of the museums around town. Right on our campus, about a 5-minute walk, we have the Phipps Conservatory, the Carnegie Museums of Art and Natural History. That Carnegie Museum of Natural History has the world's largest collection of dinosaur bones. So our students have the opportunity, even further away, more in downtown, things like the Andy Warhol Museum, Heinz History Center, and a lot of great things, a lot of great exhibits to see outside the classroom. If you're a sports fan, like I mentioned, we do have intramural and club sports for students to get involved in on campus. We're also a Division I school competing in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So you have some teams to cheer on there. At the professional level, we do also have some teams for you to cheer on. I know this is always a tough subject when we're talking to students all the way across the state. We might have some folks that aren't quite as much fans as of our local teams here in Pittsburgh, but we do have a lot of teams for you to cheer on and games for you to watch, whether that be the Penguins, the Pirates, the Steelers, or the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, our minor league soccer team. You have lots to choose from there. All of those teams, except for the Steelers, will offer discounted tickets to students. Unfortunately, the Steelers have a 30-year season ticket waiting list, so you do have to pay full price if you want to go to Heinz Field for an NFL game. If you want to go to Heinz Field for an NCAA game, our Panthers play there, and you can definitely experience all the excitement of a game day at a Division I school. Now, our students are able to move about the city with relative ease and fare-free transportation on our buses, light rails, and our inclines, those fun little things that go up the mountain. You see one kind of behind me here on the screen. All those things are free with your Pitt ID. So whether it's going out to eat somewhere, you need to go to the grocery store, the mall, go to a job downtown, you are going to have the ability to move about the city and get around relatively easily. So Oakland, where we live, is one of 90 neighborhoods in the city of Pittsburgh. All of these neighborhoods are going to have their own unique character, and this gives you a lot to explore. So it's going to be a lot of great shopping, great restaurants, great culture to take part in, and our neighborhood is actually the literal Mr. Rogers neighborhood. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood was actually filmed right up the street from our campus, right on 5th Avenue there in Oakland. So we are quite literally Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. And I think that friendliness really kind of is something that you see in our city. I personally, like I said, I grew up in Lancaster County, and I knew I wanted to attend school in a city. Lots of great ones to choose from within a pretty short drive: Philadelphia, New York, Boston, DC. But when I set foot on Pitt's campus and really into the city of Pittsburgh, I found it to be very friendly, very welcoming, and a very comfortable fit. Not too big, but also with all the amenities that I was looking for in a city. So we're very proud of our location in the city of Pittsburgh. And it's also a very safe city as well. Pittsburgh's been rated the 3rd safest major city in the United States. So we're very proud of that. All right, so let's spend a little bit of time here. I do want to save some time for questions at the end, but we will spend some time here talking about the application process. And we like to say that the application process is as easy as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you'll see what I mean by that. So there are 5 first-year entry schools. I went through all of those earlier: Arts and Sciences, Nursing, Business, Engineering, and the School of Computing and Information. You will choose one of those. Again, with the exception of nursing, you are not choosing a major right off the bat. You will have an opportunity to choose that at a later date, but you do indicate an area of academic interest on your application. So the most important thing is that you are applying to the school that houses the major that you eventually want to pursue or that you're considering. If you're tossed up between 2 schools, which is a very common thing, maybe I'm a little bit interested in something in arts and sciences, maybe I'm a little bit interested in something in business. I always encourage students to apply to the smaller, more competitive school first. So if we cannot offer you admission to that school, we may be able to offer you admission to arts and sciences, and you could look to transfer in at the end of your freshman year. So those are the five freshman entry schools, 5 first-year entry schools, the 5 and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The 4 is going to be 4 campuses. So I mentioned at the beginning the 3 regional campuses that we have: Bradford, Greensburg, and Johnstown. We ask that you do rank, the 4th one's going to be the Pittsburgh campus. We ask that you do rank those in order of preference. So in the event that we are not able to offer you admission to the Pittsburgh campus, we can look to offer you admission to your second choice school. And then, like I mentioned, students can either graduate from that school or they can work to relocate to the Pittsburgh campus after 2 years. And that's done at the regional campus with your academic advisor at that school. There are 3 ways for you to apply. This is the 3 in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There are 3 ways, and those are going to be the Common App, the Coalition application, and our own University of Pittsburgh application. There is no preference as to which one that you use to apply. If you're applying to a lot of Common App schools, it might make sense to do that. If you're applying to a lot of Coalition schools, it might make sense to do that. We like to think that our University of Pittsburgh application is going to be the most straightforward, but no application platform is going to give you a distinct advantage in the application process. So choose the one that works best for you. There are 2 acceptable test scores, and I will get to the little asterisk with that in just a second, but we do accept either the SAT or the ACT. We're considered to be a test-friendly institution. That being said, all of our freshman entry schools, with the exception of the School of Nursing, do offer students the opportunity to apply test optional for the fall 2021 semester. So as long as you are not applying to the School of Nursing, you do have the opportunity to apply as test optional. And then finally, the 1 in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is going to be the 1 self-reported academic record. We encourage students to fill out the self-reported academic record because it does tend to speed up the time period that you can expect to hear back from us. We do certainly accept high school transcripts, but again, we do typically, it does typically take you it's quicker for you to hear back from us if you complete the self-reported academic record. The only time we need official transcripts is once you decide to deposit and enroll, we would need your final high school transcript. Now, also on the screen here, you can see that we do have an optional but very, very highly encouraged section for you to complete on our application, and that's going to be the short answer questions. So the short answer questions are really a great way for the admissions committee to get to know you a little bit more beyond the grades, beyond the standardized test scores if you're submitting those. Because we as students, we're more than those. We bring a lot of great experiences and great qualities that would make us great fits at the University of Pittsburgh. This is really the place that you can tell us about all those great things that you bring. And don't ever feel like you're bragging on these things. If you do not tell us about them, all the great things you're involved with, and if they're not listed on your high school transcript or somehow in your standardized test scores, we don't know them. So for us to holistically review you and get to know you the most, we encourage you to complete these short answer questions. We ask that you do 2 of them. If you wish to be reviewed for merit-based scholarships, we do require that you complete 2 of these short answer questions. Now, there is also a short answer question that if you are applying to Pitt Honors, you will complete that at that time. So do keep that in mind as well. Now, I mentioned merit-based scholarships, and certainly I would imagine that most of us want to be considered for those. So probably would encourage those short answer questions. But all students that apply before December 15th of their senior year are automatically reviewed for merit-based scholarships. So one thing to keep in mind is that scholarship review, much like our admissions review, is done on a rolling basis. So it always benefits you to apply earlier. The earlier you apply, the better situation you're putting yourself in terms of scholarship review. If you wait until, say, December 14th, at that point, there will have been scholarships that have been given out. So it's always a benefit for you to apply early. There is a separate application I like to bring up when I'm talking to students from the great state of Pennsylvania, which I assume that most, if not all of us are today, and that's the PA Scholars application. The PA Scholars application gets you consideration for the Stamps and Nordenberg scholarships, scholarships that are open and available only to residents of Pennsylvania. These are full tuition scholarships, and they are geared towards students who are excellent in entrepreneurship and leadership. So your essay for that will allow you the opportunity to talk about the skills that you show in terms of leadership and entrepreneurship. So do consider that. I always like to bring that up when I'm talking to students from Pennsylvania. So we're moving right along here. We do have a couple more slides here I want to talk about before we go on to take your questions and leave plenty of time for that. But there are a couple of deadlines I do want to make you aware of. So even though we are rolling admissions, we do have some deadlines to keep in mind as you apply. Generally speaking, you can expect to hear back from us within 4 to 6 weeks of when you submit your application. Some of the decisions that the admissions committee can offer would be admission to the Pittsburgh campus. It is not uncommon for us to ask for more information, whether that be mid-year senior grades or a personal statement. So we can ask for those sorts of things. Do not take that as a no decision. We just want to make sure that Pitt is a good fit for you and that you are a good fit for Pitt. So that is not a no. Please do not be concerned if you receive that decision. The deadlines that we have here that I want to bring up, I've briefly touched on. The med school guarantee deadline is November 1st. There are some additional layers to that application. So if you do want to be reviewed for that, get your application before November 1st. The School of Medicine will review the submissions. They will select students they want to receive more information about, and those students will fill out a supplemental application that's due usually around the first of the year. You'll turn those back in, and then we will select usually around 40 to 50 students, or the med school will select around 40 to 50 students to bring to campus for an in-person interview. And we're hopeful to have them be in person this year. From those 40 to 50 students that we interview, we will typically award around 14 or 15 of those School of Medicine guarantees per year. So those are very competitive, like I mentioned earlier. December 1st is the deadline for Pitt Honors. So if you want to be reviewed for that, definitely get your application in early and be sure to complete the honors short answer essay prompt. December 15th, scholarship deadline for priority consideration. All students that apply before that date are automatically considered. And then finally, January 15th is the physician's assistant guarantee deadline. So before we move on to some questions here, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself and even some of my colleagues. We have about 13 individuals who work with some subset of counties in the state of Pennsylvania. So if I'm not your territory manager, we definitely have a territory manager for every county. So we have somebody that is responsible for and highly engaged with the high schools and really the students in your area. So if you want to check out our website, like I said, if I'm not your person, you can go on our website and pretty quickly and easily find out who your local person is. Be sure to say hello. We like to hear from our prospective students, and we can definitely help you out in the application process. We can answer questions that you have. We can offer guidance in terms of scholarships. I have the link on there for my own, but I know that a lot of my colleagues, if not all of them, that represent Pennsylvania do also have the opportunity to for students to schedule one-on-one appointments with them as well. So certainly with the virtual environment that we're in right now, we're not out at college fairs or in the high schools as we would love to be, but it's very important to us that we get to know the students in our territory. So definitely feel free to reach out to whoever that local person is for your particular county or your particular area. So my contact information is there. I serve about 16 counties, mostly in northeastern Pennsylvania, plus Dauphin, Lebanon, and Lancaster counties. Like I said, I'm a Lancaster County native myself, so that's certainly special for me. This is a little bit about me, but really this session's mostly about you. So we have about 10 minutes exactly here for questions. It works out perfectly before we part ways at 4:45. If Kyle hasn't answered the questions in the chat, he's going to give some to me now, and we'll answer those for you.
Great, so I haven't answered all of them. We have a few in here.
Okay.
We'll start out with the first one. So this says, I am focused on healthcare administration. What major and Pitt school should I apply to that continues towards this path?
That's a great question. So healthcare administration is certainly going to have a little bit of a business component to it. I think that the most important thing that you consider when you're picking one of those schools to apply for or apply to, and I'm guessing it would probably be narrowed down to business or arts and sciences, is which aspect of my eventual career is more important to me. Is the business aspect more important to me, or is the healthcare aspect more important to me? There are opportunities for both, no matter which school. You can't really make a wrong decision here. But if you go into the College of Business Administration, UPMC has an excellent internship program, business internship program for students. So you can get that sort of crossover experience there in the business into healthcare. If you are in the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences, you do have the opportunity to take business courses. So you can take some of the classes there and maybe have your focus be a little bit more on the health sciences, but still get a little bit of that business background. So that's an excellent question. I don't have one absolute right answer for you, but you do have a couple of different ways to reach that end goal. Great question.
Next question. I am planning on applying to guaranteed admissions program in medicine,
okay,
but I'm taking the SAT at the beginning of November. Would
okay,
I still be able to have those scores considered?
So the deadline for that is it's a strict deadline. We need to have your application completed before that deadline. We realize that that does present a little bit of a tough turnaround time there for you. But in order to consider you for the School of Medicine guarantee, your application has to be complete by that deadline.
So this next question has to deal with the short answer questions.
Okay.
And there's about 3 questions within this. The first one, how long should the short answer questions be?
Okay.
The second one, will we read the personal statement if submitted by the Common App? And then the third one, do we have to submit or do we have to answer all 4 of the questions to be considered for merit scholarship?
Yes, so great questions. I'll try and get to all of them. So you do not have to complete all 4 of them. We ask you to do 2 of them, at least if you want to be reviewed for merit-based scholarships. You certainly can do all 4 of them, but at least 2 if you want to be considered for merit-based scholarships. We do, if you are submitting via the Common App, we do pull the personal statement, so we can take a look at that as part of your holistic review. And then in terms of the first question was length of the scholarships. Okay, or not scholarships, the short answer questions. I got scholarships on my mind. Length of the short answer question. So typically around 200 words per prompt, is 200 to 300 words is what we have found tends to allow you to make your point without being too wordy with it. Keep in mind that quality is going to be more important than quantity in terms of length of words. So really it's however many words you need to make your point, but we don't want you to feel like they have to be overly long just for the sake of it.
And the next question actually deals with scholarships. This one is, does Pitt allow stacking scholarships?
We do. So we do allow stacking of scholarships, yes. Yes. See, I had scholarships on my mind. I knew that question was coming. So, yes.
You did.
Yeah.
And if anybody else on here has any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We can answer them. We have a few more minutes left.
Yeah. So while we wait for those questions to come in, Kyle, I'm going to put you on the spot, and then I'll answer myself too. But I always like to have to talk about whenever I have a colleague on here. What's your favorite thing about? You're a little bit more recent than me. What was your favorite thing about studying at the University of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, actually, it's very difficult to choose a favorite thing because there were so many things that I really enjoyed. One of the reasons that I came to Pitt is because it is a mid to large size university and it has a lot of different resources. So when I came in, I was trying to decide between if I wanted to study astronomy, if I wanted to study environmental science, or biology. I eventually settled in ecology, which is a mixture between bio and environmental science. But outside of that, I also love entrepreneurship. And so throughout my 4 years at Pitt, I got involved with many of the different pitch competitions that we had, where you come up with an idea, get a group of team members together, you pitch your idea, and you can win money. 3 years later, I now have a company, and I run that company as the COO, and we take food waste and we recycle it, or essentially we take food waste and we turn it into electricity and fertilizer. So I really enjoyed that part. The out of classroom experiences that I got at Pitt were amazing. And I studied abroad in the Amazon rainforests, so that was amazing as well. There were so many different things that I enjoyed. How about you, Adam?
Sounds like I really put you on the spot with choosing just one thing there. But no, I think that mine was relatively similar to yours. I knew that as a high school senior, even a high school junior, I knew that I wanted to attend school in a city. I wanted to do that because I wanted to experience the vibrancy of cultures, and also the opportunities to, get a good job after college. So being located in the city of Pittsburgh, I had lots of companies to choose from when it came to doing my internships. I actually, one that was a little bit more with a national company was an internship that I did with Chevrolet. This was actually kind of a pretty unique internship, and it's really my favorite class that I did at Pitt was actually in a class that resulted in an internship for credit. So this was called Projects in Marketing, and it's a class in our College of Business Administration. It's 30 students and a faculty advisor. So on the first day of class every semester, the faculty advisor gives the students a company and or a client and a marketing objective. My class's client was Chevrolet, and the marketing objective was to promote the Chevy Volt, which was the new electric car at the time, to recent college graduates. So from that point on, my class was really a fully functioning ad agency. We bought and created advertising. We held on-campus events, and we even got to represent Pitt at a national competition. So the opportunity, because we were so immersed with it, that we were able to consider ourselves interns for Chevrolet. But that was one of 3 internships that I did, and that class is something that really sticks out with me, and one I look back very fondly upon.
So, Adam, we have a few more questions that came in.
Great.
This first one has to deal with Pitt Honors.
Okay.
The question is, does applying to Pitt Honors require SAT and ACT scores, as well as high school transcript, or is the application process similar to the regular admissions?
So students that are applying to Pitt Honors can do so test optional. So you would not be required to have SAT or ACT scores. Our scholarships, our guarantee admissions programs, overall admission, for most of those, except for the School of Nursing, you can apply test optional this year. So you do have that opportunity. We would require your high school transcript, either your high school transcript or the self-reported academic record for Pitt Honors. Did I get all that question there?
I believe so. Good. And then the next one is, can I major in computer science in the Dietrich School of Arts and Science?
So the computer science is going to be housed in the School of Computing and Information. So in order to major in that, you would have to be in that school. There are some opportunities for crossover to take some classes, but you would have to be a computer science major in the School of Computing and Information.
Then there's also one more about tours at Pitt. So this one deals with coming to Pitt to visit and have in-person tours. Are we currently allowing that, or where can somebody find a tour?
Yeah. So at this moment, at least for the time being, most of our tours, all of our tours are going to be virtual. We are not holding on-campus tours at this time. So you can keep an eye on our website if when that, I say when, not if, when that does switch to on-campus in-person tours again, we will list that on our website and communicate that pretty loudly. We can't wait for that to happen. We can't wait to have you on our campus. But for the time being, all of our events, all of our programming is done virtually.
And then we also have a few more. So when do the applications start?
Yeah, so the application typically goes live in early August. We don't really put a date on it, but it's usually the first week of August every summer.
And then this one comes back to the guaranteed medicine program. The question is, how strict is it on the SAT scores? Is the minimum strict at 1490?
It is, yes. So that is our most competitive, by far our most competitive guarantee. So the guidelines that we set forth with that, the School of Medicine actually sets forth, we encourage students to adhere to, try and adhere to those as best as possible in order to give themselves the best opportunity to receive that guarantee.
Great, and that's all the ones we have at the moment, unless anybody else has any more questions.
Yeah, we got 4:44 here, so a time for maybe one short one.
Oh, here's a few.
Folks, if we don't get to your questions, we get a transcript of these and we will respond to you via email. I think probably rather than us get cut off with those from the questions from here on out, we will respond to you via email. But I want to thank you so much for taking time this afternoon to join us. It was great to chat with all of you, and we hope you have a good rest of your school year, a great rest of your day, and hail to Pitt.
Okay, and just to go along with that, of course, again, big thank you for joining us. When you close this window, there's going to be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd really appreciate any feedback that you can provide. As I said at the beginning, this is just one of the many sessions that we are hosting, so please be sure to sign up at PACAC.org, PACA.org, and in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recordings as well as all the other session recordings at same website, PACA.org. Thank you all for joining us today.